Friend, here you are at La Salette. You have come, you have made the ascent. Why? You were passing that way, and in your guidebook you read about it. And you came up alone or with your friends for the day. Just a casual stop on your holiday route. To have a look, from curiosity, to admire the scenery. It is worth the detour, isn't it? Perhaps it was through your travel agent and his poster. Then you took advantage of the coach and you came with the others. Or else, I don't know, because you wanted to stop and breathe more profoundly, to face up to your life, to contemplate, to pray. Perhaps you even insisted on climbing on foot like the pilgrims of former days. Why? Why? No doubt there are many reasons. In any case, you are here, hardly having got over the emotion at the panorama, taking in the peace and the silence of this place.
But now it's your turn to ask questions. On this remote mountain, quite unknown 100 years ago, why are there all these buildings? And why all the crowds? Why are all these people gathered in the little valley at the time of Mass, or forming a procession in honor of Christ in the Eucharist on the mountain paths? And these torches at night, a river of fire in the darkness, and this meeting with unknown people. Someone suggested it to you. You went along just to talk. You discovered friends. And again these young people on the rough path up the Gargas, the cross leading them, praying and meditating. And above all, why these statues of bronze down there? Why near to them these men, these women, wrapped in the silence of their prayer? Yes, why? But what are you doing here?
In a decree dated 19th September 1851, Philibert de Briard, Bishop of Grenoble, declares,
"In our judgment, the apparition of the Holy Virgin to two shepherds on the 19th of September 1846 on a mountain of the range of the Alps, situated in the parish of La Salette in the deanery of Corps, bears in itself all the elements of truth, and the faithful are justified in believing it certain and beyond doubt."
5 years earlier, when evening came, two children put the peasants of the hamlet of Ablandin in a puzzled whirl. Maximin Giraud, 11 years old, and Melanie Calvat, 15, on their return from the pastures, recount an impossible story. In the ravine of La Sesia, they have seen, so they say, a beautiful lady, radiating light, sitting with her head in her hands. She is weeping. Then she rises and speaks to them at some length. At last, after taking a few steps, she rises from the ground and gradually disappears from their view. Each one separately, the two children relate the story. The two accounts agree completely. And what the beautiful lady said to them, they repeat word for word, in their dialect first of all, and then in the French language, which they do not understand. By chance, the very next day, on the initiative of the mayor, this account is noted down under Mélanie's dictation by 3 peasants from the Ablander. Without ever changing anything, the children afterwards go and tell it to everybody. Monsieur Lagier, a priest native of Corps, will realize this himself in February 1847. He speaks the patois of the region, coming with the resolved intent of unmasking the children's fraud. He leaves overwhelmed with emotion and convinced. Monsignor Dupanloup and many others will interrogate the witnesses, trying to obtain from them a contradiction or denial, to no avail. And 5 years after the event, Monsignor Philibert de Bruyère, in the name of the Church, will pronounce his judgment. Since then, crowds have never ceased to climb up. Here they are still, as numerous and fervent as yesterday. Here we are, you and I, all of us, to listen to the beautiful lady say again,
"Come near, my children. Be not afraid. I'm here to tell you great news."
Yes, come near, you too, and be not afraid. As with Maxima and Mélanie, she welcomes you. Come forward and listen. The good news she brings concerns you, even if the first approach appears hard and disconcerting. For it is all about the forgotten gospel, which is the only good news ultimately for you, for all her people, for our world of today.
If my people will not submit, I shall be forced to let go that arm of my son. It is so strong and so heavy that I can no longer withhold it. How long a time do I suffer for you? If I would not have my son abandon you, I am compelled to pray to him without ceasing. And as to you, you take no heed of it. However much you pray, however much you do, you will never recompense the pains I have taken for you.
Tears, lamentation, why?
Because from the start there is a refusal of God's plan for man. A plan apart from which nothing in your life, nothing in the life of the world can have any meaning. Because on your part there is neglect of her Son, the beginning and end of all, Jesus Christ, in whom alone you can find your foundation and your fulfillment.
The one whom the first pilgrims had spontaneously called the reconciler comes to denounce the utter refusal, mine, yours, and that of her people, the refusal of faith. She weeps, she prays, she takes trouble over this world, which claims to be able to live and flourish by proclaiming the death of God. She weeps because this very liberty is turned astray, perverted by your refusal of the one who offered it to you.
6 days I have given you to labor. The 7th I have kept for myself, and they will not grant it to me. It is this which makes the arm of my Son so heavy.
The 7th day of the creation, when God rested from all his work after having made man in his own image and likeness.
Would you then be created for the 6 days alone, for producing and consuming, to debase yourself at the task, without being able to raise your head? Man, you are no longer slave. You are the image of God. And with Jesus risen on the new 7th day, see, you are called to become son and heir.
Those who drive the carts cannot swear without using the name of my Son. These are the 2 things that make the arm of my Son so heavy.
Ezekiel already complained, because of you, my name is blasphemed among the nations.
Your neglect makes that name of no significance. It is that name which your pride rejects. Your superficial religion makes of that name an object of derision. And yet St. Peter proclaims, there is no other name given among men whereby we may be saved.
If the harvest is spoilt, it is all on your account. I gave you warning last year in the potatoes, but you did not heed it. On the contrary, when you found the potatoes spoilt, you swore, you took the name of my Son in vain. They will continue to decay, so that by Christmas there will be none left.
What a futile world, impossible to live in, is the one you try to invent apart from God. From then on, everything is out of joint, and hence comes suffering and its visage of death.
And it is true that at Christmas in 1846, Monsieur Mélin, the parish priest, informed his bishop of the scarcity which rages in Kor. No more potatoes were to be had, even at the highest price. And the following year there was famine in the whole of Europe. Queen Victoria deplores it in her speech from the throne, especially for Ireland.
If you have wheat, it is not good to sow it, for all that you sow the insects will eat. What comes up will fall into dust when you thresh it. There will come a great famine. Before the famine comes, the children under 7 years of age will be seized with trembling, and they will die in the hands of those who hold them. The others will do penance through the famine. The walnuts will become worm-eaten, the grapes will rot.
Sad realities of that time. People who have seen and felt them have understood, as is witnessed by the movement of conversion at that time, the sign that God was giving them through these events.
Outdated way of thinking, we say, an old-fashioned vision of things. Agriculture is a matter for technicians and farmers, for fertilizers and machines. Of course. But then the disorder, the waste and injustice of today, are they not even more lamentable? Biafra, Bangladesh, Sahel, Ethiopia, the third world with its famine, and its little children who are dying, and you take no heed of it. Indifference, selfishness. Today as yesterday, the death of God means the death of man.
And the Reverend Matagran, present Bishop of Grenoble, could say on this spot, if the Virgin were to appear today, she would shed torrents of tears. She can then but launch her appeal for reconciliation to all.
If they are converted, the stones and the rocks will be changed into heaps of wheat, and the potatoes will be self-sown.
This reality of universal harmony, possible from then on, was already announced by Isaiah.
The wolf will dwell with the lamb, the panther will lie down with the kid, for the land is filled with the knowledge of God as the waters cover the sea.
The evangelical promise of reconciliation develops this theme, dwelling on the priorities to be respected.
Seek ye first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and all the rest will be added to you.
A promise then, but also a demand. Today as yesterday, neither the baffling problems of your life nor the crises of society will be surmounted without a thorough revaluation. That is what the Gospel and the whole Bible calls conversion.
If you do not cling to me, the rock, you will drift away.
The reign of God alone will permit you to live with your brothers in a transformed world.
Do you say your prayers well, my children?
Oh no, madame, not very well.
well.
Ah, my children, you must be sure to say them well, morning and evening. When you cannot do better, say at least an Our Father and a Hail Mary. But when you have time, say more. In summer, there are none who go to Mass but a few aged women. The rest work on Sundays all the summer, and in winter, when they know not what to do, they go to Mass only to mock religion. During Lent, they go to the meat market like dogs.
The question is put to you as yesterday to the children, and it is to the essential things that you are sent back here.
What is it that shows that God is there? More than Paris, prayer, a dimension necessary to man, an indispensable outlet. Our bishops have stressed this, inviting us to present to the world the sight of a church that celebrates and prays. Prayer, the Lordship of Christ, both Master and Lord of all, the source of energy.
And Lent?
The season of Lent is the ascent towards Easter, towards that transfigured world of Jesus, but not without passing through the needful purification of the cross. A reality that you throw aside lightly when you shut yourself away in the wastefulness of the consumer society. You forget, you refuse, and yet God is there. He follows you step by step in this world of misery in which you have shut yourself. He waits for you, always merciful, and present in each of the troubles of your daily life.
Have you ever seen wheat that is spoilt, my children?
No, madame. I have never seen any.
But my child, you must surely have seen some once, with your father near the land at Coin. The master of the field told your father to go and see his ruined wheat. You went both together. Your father took 2 or 3 ears into his hands and dropped them, and they fell all into dust. On your return home, when you were still an hour's distance from Cour, your father gave you a piece of bread and said to you, "Here, my child, eat some bread this year at least. I don't know who will eat any next year if the wheat goes on like that."
Oh yes, madame. I remember now. For the moment, I did not recall it.
Monsieur Giraud, cart maker by trade and member of his guild, had had no need of God for a long time. At first, he did not want to know anything about what his young boy was relating, until the day when Maximin could slip in a word.
But, Papa, she spoke of you too.
Overcome with emotion, he suddenly discovered the God of tenderness, the God who interests himself in this father's anxiety, so grieved at having no more bread to give to his child. The God present in all our worries, in all our hopes, in all our lands of coin. You who have come here, whoever you are, the Virgin Mary is waiting for you. She came, she wept, she spoke. But this event is not of yesterday only, and through these poor shepherds it is to you whom she speaks. She is here, always present as a mother, who welcomes you and confides to you anew her amazing message. Here she is, a messenger of God, who gives himself for you and for all, the Father of tenderness. God, who opens his arms to you, prodigal son, to bring you back into the circle of the family, the place you had abandoned. Here she is speaking to you in tears, hoping that the sun stand where your wretchedness lies, and that of all men, your brothers. Look then, and listen, and come back to her Son. Engrave the message in your heart. Let it pass into your life. And since she asks it of you, pass it on to others.
Come, my children, do make it known to all my people.
Merciful Virgin, intercede for my conversion.